Hey, good evening, friends. It's Tuesday night, time for our Tuesday Worship Express. This is our last Tuesday with Bo and I being here during the month of February, talking about trust. So we are going to do just a quick recap of what we've talked about over this month. And I think you're going to start, aren't you?
Yeah.
We talked about that first week.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. What a neat experience this has been over the last 3 weeks, and this being the fourth week of Meredith and I talking about trust. And that first week, before I kick that off, one of the things that there's always these clip words like trust and believe and worry, and they all kind of roll up. And each one we could spend weeks and weeks talking about each one of those. But the first week we talked a lot about trust in our friends and trust in our family members and the people that are around us. And how do we trust them? How do we, what built that trust? What was the building blocks for that? Whether it was we trust our parents because they raised us, we were birthed and we made it through childhood and they made the right decisions. So we trust that they have our backs. We trust that. The friends that we surround ourselves with, we trust them because they've made right decisions that are good for us. And when they say they do something, they do it, and it's good. So we trust our friends. But if we threw that one word in there, belief, because that's a big part of it, when we talk about, we'll read some scripture out of the Bible and, trusting in the Word. Why do we trust in the Word? We'll talk a little bit more about that, but some of that's about belief. And where did we get that belief from? Was that belief seeded in us? And a lot of that was from our parents, from our people who love and care about us. So we trust that they gave us that belief. So the first week was about trusting in our families, trusting in our friends, the people who care about us and want the best for us.
Right. And then the second week we talked about trust in our romantic relationships, partners. And we also kind of reframed that a little bit to fortifying our relationships. So like rebuilding trust. And here are some things that we talked about. We said asking for forgiveness, give reasons of why we're sorry. Make your actions match your words. Say what you're going to do what you're going to, make those things go together. Over communicate sometimes. Bo and I talk a lot about how if someone is not communicating enough, or there's a lack of communication, sometimes that allows the atmosphere to have non-trust. And then we write our own stories. My mom used to say, I'm going to sit here and write a novel if you don't tell me what's going on, which in our minds, we can make that the worst case scenario, which is a lack of trust. So in lots of different ways. Actively listening was something else we talked about being a big thing, but the most important thing was we talked about telling your partner why you love them. What is it about that person that allows you to trust them or that allows you to feel safe with them? And I think it's a good thing to share with someone, just to kind of let them know, hey, this is what I notice about you and how you make me feel, and it's good. This is a good thing.
Which is all about that's what trust is, right? Doing things for others, and it's a good thing for us, right? It's hard to trust people who the end game of that is bad things, right?
Yeah.
Last week was when we started talking about trusting ourselves, and that's a little sticky there of how do you trust yourself. I think some of the things we talked about was what are we trusting ourselves with, or how do we trust ourselves? Is that what we call, I have some intuition, something came to me and I think this is the way it should be.
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
You hear that a lot.
We hear a lot. But then we got to find out, well, where did the root of that come from? Where did the root of trusting ourselves come from? Because if you really started digging into it, the roots of trusting ourselves come from trusting in a higher power, trusting in something else, something that is greater than us. And so then you have to think about, well, I trust myself because I know I'm doing the right things in getting into the Word. I know that I'm doing the right things by trying to open my ears up and listen for the direction that God has for my plan. Sometimes that goes back to trusting in the people that are around you, trusting in your partner, trusting in your family and friends, and that since they are supportive of you and they love and they want good for you, that's sometimes God uses other people. So maybe the bigger plan is that. So trusting yourself isn't you sitting by yourself in a chair trying to figure everything out.
Right.
Saying, I got this. My gut tells me this. That's not necessarily trusting in yourself. I trust in myself that when I need something, I know where to go. I know I have a partner. I trust that I have a partner. That I've set that up. I trust that God is there for me, and I trust that the Word will show me the answers if I need those answers.
I want to read a couple of things that I found when looking up trusting in God. So trusting God has nothing to do with our understanding and everything to do with getting out of the way of God and letting Him do what He does. Here's a definition. A belief in God's truth, ability, and strength. To put it simply, trusting in God means believing what He says about Himself. And everything that we've read, everything that we know. The other thing is, Bo and I were just kind of talking that we're not experts in any of this. We not even close. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in anything, but I do trust what I'm reading, and I do trust that God has a plan for our lives, and I do trust that I will wake up tomorrow morning and there will be food and there will be clothes to wear and there will be people in my life that love me. I do trust that, and God has allowed those things to happen. He has put those plans in motion.
A lot of that comes back to, why do we trust in our family and friends? Why do we trust in our partners? And it's because they've done good for us. When they said they're going to do something, they've done it, and it's been good. And in my life, I could probably talk endlessly about many of the things that God has gotten me through. Because of my belief, I do believe whenever I have worry, whenever I think of those times where I think that I'm at the bottom and I'm constantly worrying about something, when I turned to God, not that I was away from Him, but I even got closer to Him during those worry times because I felt like I was at my end wits, that's when He answered me. And so, no different than other people that are around me. They've done good. Mm-hmm. So when I look at trusting in the Lord, I say to Him, how do I handle this situation? What do I do next? And endlessly, He's continued to tell me in some way. Either it's a devotion, it's a daily conversation with somebody. Somehow He connects me up, and next thing I know, my worry's not there, because I've tried to let that go. When it comes to His plan for us, when we use those words a lot. We talk about Jeremiah 29:11 that says He has a plan for us. That plan is to do good. It's not just a plan, to do good for Bo and Meredith, and His plan is for us to live fruitful lives and we'll have great lives and they'll be good. His plan is for love to be everywhere. And so His plan for us is to try to use us to be able to spread that love and ensuing joy that comes with that love. One of the verses that we were gonna read is Proverbs 3, 5, it says, with all your heart you must trust the Lord and not your own judgment. Always let him lead you, and he will clear the road for you to follow.
The next one is Matthew chapter 6, verse 25. This is Jesus. Do not worry. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes? Worry. We've talked about that before too. It's a hard thing to let go of, but if we are going to start walking in faith and walking in God's Spirit, we do not worry. And man, that's tough. That's a tough one for me. That's one that I would call myself a recovering worrier.
So, and I did have another one I picked out, to Psalm 28:7, which is, you are my strong shield, and I trust you completely. You have helped me, and I will celebrate and thank you in song. Again, going back to, you have helped me. You know, some of the reasons why we trust the people we trust, and the reason that I trust the Lord is because when I'm at my end, I turn to Him. I try to turn to Him always, but I can name times in my life where I didn't know what to do, and the worry had overtaken me, and I gave that up and said, Lord, please take this worry from me. I trust in you that you have a plan for me, and that is to do good. And so I will always turn to that and know that God has my back, or has our back.
Amen. Bottom line, this is the ultimate leap of faith. You are giving up the fear and the anxiety and the worry, but what you're getting in return is God's love and His abundant taking care of you. You know, it's, what's the saying? Empty me of myself and fill me with your love. Fill me up with you. And speaking about God, that's another work that we have to constantly be telling ourselves to do, is to empty ourselves of us, get out of God's way, and let Him do the work.
Amen.
So that's about it, I think, that we have. But trust is a touchy topic, I think, because it's a word that you hear a lot. You hear it almost every day, maybe. And just to hear the words trust in God, what does that mean? And maybe this is a conversation starter for you and your family or your friends or your partner to say, what does this look like in our lives? How can we get to a deeper level of trust with each other? How can we do a better job of trusting God? And I mean, believe me, that's definitely on my list of things to do a better job at, is, you know, working on that. So thanks for being here.
Yep, you guys have a good week, and trust in what He guides you to do this week. And we love you, and happy Tuesday.